that time of week once more. For Muji and Dan to give you the comic store, it's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
101.
Issue 101. We're back after our longest absence of all time.
But we did still manage to have a monthly schedule upheld. We actually did a show in December. It was very early in December, but we did a show in December.
Yeah, and now we're late in January.
But we did it, damn it. There was one in December, one in January, so we're at least monthly.
It's the first one of 2015.
It is.
It's our third year of podding, at least for this pod, so that's fun.
Yeah.
2015 is shaping up to be an interesting year in the world of comics.
Comics seem like they're going to be weird this year. That's all I can say, because everybody's going haywire. DC has Convergence and Convergence.
Yeah,
they do not own Convergence. They seem like they are Convergence right now because nobody knows what they're doing. That's if you don't know what that is, that's just a terrible staffing company, or actually no, like a temp place. It's fucking
Same difference.
They do customer service for a bunch of places, and they're outsourced. They suck. Everybody that lives in Chattanooga almost has worked for them. Yeah. Anyways, Convergence, and they're being all secret about what the fuck's going to happen after it's over. I know they're canceling a shit ton of books, and then, they're definitely not going to cancel or redo any continuity on the ones like Batman. That would be stupid. So Nobody knows what's going to happen coming out of that. And there's nobody really knows what's happening in it, because there's one main title and then 18 tie-ins, and nobody knows anything. I know I'm going to pick up Batman and Detective Convergence titles just to not have a hole in my run, and those will probably be the only books because I'm scared.
There's a couple that look really good, like the Superman, like the classic style Superman.
Yeah, they've released some of the who's going to do some of the books. There's a random Greg Rucka's doing a random book. So, I would, just like all DC events, I would probably say pick it based on the creators.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion as well.
The main storyline's an 8-parter. Yeah. But here's the thing that weirds me out on this, because I feel like this event is happening, and it's called Multiversity.
Yeah.
Because Grant Morrison's got Multiversity.
It'll still be ongoing, or at least
is still going to be ongoing.
Yes, and it is an exploration of the multiverse.
Yeah. And this is an event where all the multiverses come together and fight. There's pre-crisis versions of characters will be fighting post-crisis, and New 52 will be fighting pre-52, and yada, yada, yada.
So
I'm sure
they might get
Batman
wrapped up in all that. That's kind of a cool idea.
I'm sure maybe the Oracle will yell at Barbara at New 52 Batgirl for walking, because that's something she'd be mad about her.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm sure that some of the titles will be good, and there'll probably be some nice witty making fun of people for the things that they're mad about and stuff. But it's just so iffy.
It's an ambitious project, to say the least. And while they have a lot of talented people up there, and honestly, right now, I prefer DC over Marvel.
Now, most of them aren't writing books of Convergence, but continue.
It's when you get all that many cooks in the kitchen, it often spoils the soup.
It's something. Cooks. It's weird to me. Here's the thing that's weird to me about this. It's fine. This is what they're going to do. That's what they're doing for their 2 months. Apparently, it's needed. And apparently, another thing they talked about is much like the September, it's given the regular creative teams a couple months off to get caught up. So this is another way that, you get Capullo on every issue. They're going to get this 2 months off. So it's going to give all them a break. And it also makes sense for some of their bigger creators. It gives them a break because they all have their own image books and stuff like that. So, but this is just the weirdest plan ever that I've ever heard. It's we're moving our office. So all these people that don't work in our office anyways, they're not writing books.
Yeah.
But anyways, it does seem interesting. Awesome DC news, though, for them. That I read that Mark Doyle, who's the editor of Batman right now, he used to be a big Vertigo editor. He's the one that was Snyder's editor on American Vampire, which basically gave them the leverage to become the Batman editor, because Snyder was like, hey, we need a new Batman editor, hire him. And they were like, okay, cool, we want you to write Batman Forever, so I guess we'll let you have whoever you want. I remember he was supposed to be like the temporary guy doing the Batman books, but their big news they announced is he changed his mind and decided he's moving to California.
Huh.
So he's going to stay the Batman editor, which rules, which makes everybody think that means there's a much greater chance that Snyder and Capullo are just going to keep writing Batman forever,
Heck yeah,
which is what you want.
it is.
Yeah, nobody has done what they've done to Batman in so long. We'll talk about that a little bit later because we've got some Batman up in the pull list. But DC, as far as, their other properties, of course, there's a lot of buzz and excitement about the movies coming up. The television world is setting things on fire for DC.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, The Flash and Arrow, there's not two hardly better shows anywhere.
Gotham is great.
Oh, yeah, Gotham has just been unexpectedly great. I mean, I hoped it would be great, but it being on Fox, I was cautiously optimistic.
And then you have Supergirl coming to CBS, which you go, oh, that's a little sketchy, but it's going to be in the Arrow universe and has the same executive producer as Arrow. They're just putting this on CBS. They've got to deal with that. So that's also awesome. So that makes you think that why wouldn't it be good?
Yeah, we was talking to Todd before we went on the air about this. It's almost to the point that there's too many good shows. I think they need to start staggering some of these into like the summer and the off season.
Yeah, so it has an audience.
Yeah, because they're fighting over the same pie, and that pie is large right now, but it ain't always going to be large. And it makes me a little concerned about oversaturation, but I'm excited about all the stuff for damn sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a bunch of good shows. They announced finally, Seth Rogen announced Preacher's going into production.
Nice, yeah. I've heard
So that rules.
It's been gestating for a while.
Yeah, I just almost finished the first hardcover, and it's great on it. So it's
yeah.
a book that I'm started getting and collecting. I'm going to have to read all the way through. I was already reading it before they announced this. I'm not one of those who run out and read it before they put it on TV so I can know what's going to happen. And
Dude, it's been on my, I need to read that
forever.
list since 2004.
Yeah. And I've had that book. Yeah, and I've had that book for a few months, just sitting there. So
it's time.
a couple of the hardcovers are hard to get a hold of, for a decent price. So, but anyways, that's exciting. Agent Carter, I watched the first episode of it. Way better than S.H.I.E.L.D.
Man, yeah.
Agents of Shit, and
Agents
somehow an Agent Peggy Carter made by the same people. It's hard to believe, but much better show.
A lot of that has to do with the casting, I think.
Oh yeah, a lot of it does.
The lovely Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, who's just so charming, and you just you hang on her every word. And then you have Dominic Cooper back as Howard Stark, which is so quintessential to making it work. And you could throw those two together with a fucking turd as the background, and it would be interesting because they just have a unique chemistry, and I'm really excited for what that's going to hold.
Yeah.
Because it's a limited series, it's kind of just to help explain some of the backstory of the Marvel film
universe.
Thing
to do. Just
I love how they
short run.
They cut in right at the end of the Captain America 1 movie, the first movie. It's kind of where this movie picked up, or this show picked up, and I thought it was
Marvel, also being kind of crazy. They've got all sorts of things going on. Obviously, Spider-Man, which I think Todd reads and a lot of people love.
Absolutely.
They've basically are just doing their own crazy multiverse Spider-Man storyline going on right now, and then on top of that, they're redoing 1,000 events, and on top of that, there's a big rumor that at the end of the summer they're going to relaunch their whole continuity.
Yeah,
which they do always shit on DC for their ideas, and then wait a year and copy them. So
we'll do it now.
Wouldn't be a big surprise if that's what they did.
No, and I think that's a fucking terrible idea. They've done a lot of shit to fuck up what should be fairly simple Marvel continuity because it really just started in the 60s. You can overlook a lot of silly shit and, keep a baseline continuity, which is what they had managed to do pretty fucking well up until the event years, which were held mainly by Bendis. And I liked most of those stories, but when it was over with, it seemed like they had no fucking idea where they wanted to take the Marvel Universe. Yeah. And I think that may be the problem and why we're coming up on this relaunch because of the movie popularity they want. Well, DC, they're like, all these people jumped on the number ones of the relaunch and everything, and I think that they're going to try to do that for
Yeah.
Marvel,
It's crazy now how the movies are really starting to drive like the books, man. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is going to have by the end of by the beginning of the summer 4 different titles.
Yeah, they're open their
a book that had
big
0
time.
before, and also you can see too. Inhumans are they're trying to push them in to replace the X-Men in the Marvel Universe as well.
I wonder, man. I don't know that that's going to be successful. The Inhumans do not have a fifth of the charm that the X-Men have, in my opinion.
Yeah, or not
Yeah.
even a fifth of the characters.
No, not even close to the roster depth.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like Black Bolt's a cool character, Lockjaw's a cool character. I like a lot of the Inhumans, but they're not the X-Men.
And I saw now they're messing with the continuity of because of movie rights, once again messing with their own stuff. Where now they're saying they're going to reveal the true father of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, so it's not going to be Magneto anymore. So that because they own that.
Retcon jobs there.
Also, apparently, official Spider-Man's going to be in Avengers 3. They were talking about that today. Latino Review posted the rumor, who almost is always right. They said, word is official deal with Struck will be announced in the coming weeks.
Yeah, Sony came out and was like, no. But I mean, it probably came from the hacked emails from Sony. So
they're really fucked right now. So they're trying to get any dollars they can with them, and they lost. And man, I got to say with Image, we'll see. Maybe this is me being pessimistic, but I feel like the first cracks and they're almost perfect. We're doing things right, things happen at this Image Expo, because the expo is all about how they're going to grow their market share, and it seems that they're going to grow their market share by just having 1 billion books. And where before it was the elite of the elite do their books at Image, now it's basically anybody. It seems like anybody who has a okay idea, and a lot of these books, by the way, sound the same. There's about 8 sci-fi books that sound they have the same premise about to come out. It seems like now it's just, if you have a pulse and you have a creator-owned idea, bring it to Image.
Yeah, they'll print it.
There's a bunch of people I've never heard of that have books coming there, which maybe some of those books will be awesome. And a lot of people that are famous at Marvel and DC did have little-known Image books first, such as Fractions Casanova. Now is doing better. And they're going to bring it back now that he's a name. But it seems as the last couple expos, you're oh shit, Remeter's got some books coming. Oh, Jason Aaron's got a book. Oh, these guys. Now it's oh, this guy that did 3 issues of a book at IDW has an Image series. I don't know if I care.
Yeah, I mean, with the Image though, the one thing that you do have to say works in their favor is that it's their bottom line is solely driven by successful books. So it's and that's the case everywhere, but more so at Image because the creators get a bigger share of it. So if these books are bad, people aren't going to buy them, then they're going to get canceled. So it could be a failed experiment.
That's true.
They're just rolling the dice.
And I hate that some of them, man. An Image, it is really an Image. It is a big deal of feast or famine on some of these books, because some of the books I really like don't sell a ton. I mean, you got your all-star people Saga is just a crazy book that continues to sell 1 billion all the time. Mm-hmm. And you've got your Sagas and you got your Witches has been doing great because it's from Snyder and he's one of the hottest names right now. Walking Dead, of course. Outcast, because it's another Kirkman. You've got those books, but then you've got Lazarus, which I'll talk about later as one of the picks of the week, because it just continues to be awesome. Where in the letter section of this book, Rucka talks about how they're breaking even on the single issues and they're making some money off of that, and that's a shame because it's a great book. And
it's so good.
If they that brings up, if they were getting a constant wage at Vertigo, there's a chance they might actually make more money by selling it to Marvel or DC, in the short term. So, those books, they're kind of if they make money, they're good for the people. If they're not making money, they're not, really gonna. It's not you can't be like Brian K. Vaughan, who's about to have 3 books, but could just write Saga and be a rich guy.
Yeah, it's very much, it's like the old school territorial wrestling, man. If you ain't putting asses in the seats, you ain't taking home a payday. So,
there were crazy Image announcements, though. There were some things I was super excited about coming out of the Image Expo. A couple of ones I really liked. It's a graphic novel, which is cool, so it's not going to be a big thing, but a Snyder-written, Lemire-drawn graphic novel. I'm all the way down for that. That's going to be coming out in Image. So that rules. Brian K. Vaughan has 2 more books coming out. One of which I'll definitely get because it's Brian K. Vaughan writing it and Cliff Chang's doing the artwork for Wonder Woman.
Nice.
That's his next project. Is he's going to Image to do a creator-owned with Brian K. Vaughan, and it's about some. It sounded like a crazy premise that he would be awesome at. There's some teenage girls go on some sort of a trip, and they disappear, and it's about them, where they go when they disappear. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And I was like, oh, Cliff Chang's drawing it. Oh, yeah, I'm adding that to the list. And then Brian K. Vaughan has another book coming out too, so he's going to have, I think the other one's a mini-series though, so that one I probably won't pick up till it comes out in trade. But he'll have the second Image ongoing, so gotta get that. And Lemire has like 19 books coming out in Image. It might be more like 5, but 5 and 19 is there really a difference?
Like when Lemire is good, he is great. When Lemire is not great, he is very average. He really excels at like creepy, horror themed, like Underwater Welder was so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like that was just incredible.
Yeah.
Justice League Dark, it was okay.
His group books have not been great.
No, he's never excelled on team books. Like I canceled that Justice League of America, and we talked about that previously.
Like it seems like his Hawkeye might be really good because it's just one dude.
Quirky character, Does
it seem weird? Does it seem like cheating? Like he's like cheating on his wife by leaving Green Arrow to go write Hawkeye?
A little bit,
yeah, definitely.
So, not to backtrack, but there was one thing I wanted to add about this whole thing. Super nerd comic conspiracy time.
Oh,
right on. Are you following? Are you listening? All right, here we go.
You got it.
What if the person behind the Sony hack solely did it so Marvel would get the rights back to Spider-Man?
I'd say it was worth it.
That would be worth going to jail for forever.
Yeah. So we get our Spidey.
People would get him tattooed. Like, people would have tattoos of that guy, like, on their arm.
Free that guy.
Yeah.
Just the thought. I mean, Sony loses all this money. Now they got to go to Marvel and get, like...
If that guy's name is Harold, then there'll be a Harold Con in 2015, if that's true.
He gave us Spider-Man back.
Yes. He gave us back our child. Or, of course, also, what if somebody at Disney, because, they have $1 billion. When the apocalypse happens, I know that you're going to have to buy everything from Walmart, and the only films you'll get to see will be from Disney, because they're just they're not going anywhere. No matter what. Maybe they fucking did it.
Right.
Maybe they were like, we're going to get Spider-Man back one way or another. So what if we do this?
We hire a team of hackers.
Yeah. Or maybe, George Lucas got like $4 billion when he sold Star Wars to Disney. Maybe also part of the plan, he was just like, I really want to see an Avengers with Spider-Man before I die. I'm going to use one of my billions. I'm going to use one of my billions.
We solved it.
He's like, how can I win back the people that I've lost over the years? He's going to come out, like, he's going to go to jail. George Lucas is going to announce in a week, he's going to walk out and be like, I did it. I paid the hacker to do it. Spider-Man's back because of me. Love me again.
I went back to all the Marvel Universe films and CGI'd Spider-Man into every single one of them.
Yes.
And Iron Man can blink now. Yes. Just like those Ewoks.
Also with do-back lizards.
Yeah. Speed of which, saw the new extended trailer for the first time on the big screen. Went and saw American Sniper, which, by the way, 2 weeks in 2015, but it's going to be hard to beat that movie. It was fucking so good.
It was a late edition, and it's already...
It was great. Bradley Cooper, who'd have known that the asshole from Wedding Crashers was going to turn into a great actor. But
he's all over the place now.
He's awesome, and in that movie, he's awesome. But in the previews, we got a couple of awesome previews, but a great extended Avengers trailer.
Nice. That
had quite a bit of Hulk fighting Iron Man, and it was awesome.
It's funny how the first Avengers movie was, in many ways, it was very much based off the Ultimates.
Yeah.
So many ways based off Avengers #1 from the 60s.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
With Loki as a villain. In the sequel, we have them fighting the Hulk. That's like, it's so crazy that they're actually like putting this tribute going all the way back to the origin of the Marvel Universe. Like, because that issue #2, they fight the Hulk. So it's it's right there, you know.
I don't think I can play with these guys anymore.
Yeah, but that looked awesome. And then there was a couple other cool ones too. They showed the trailer for Mad Max. That looks crazy. I know it's
good stuff about that.
Yeah, but it looks really wild. Like it's a movie I'll have to see. I'm really excited. There's big rumors that a Batman vs Superman teaser trailer is coming, like just any day now. So I'm really excited for that.
I heard another rumor that they might be splitting it into 2 movies, which I don't know if that's.
I heard that. I don't know what they're doing. That's so crazy. I mean, I've heard that too. I don't know what's happening because at first they're like, we're just going to do like 2 movies, and those 2 movies are going to be Batman vs Superman and the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Well, now they're saying Batman vs Superman is so gigantic that it may have a part 1 and 2 that come out. Part 2 might come out the next year before the Justice League, so you might get it, Suicide Squad, and the Justice League.
Yeah.
I say the more the merrier.
Yeah, right. Bring it on.
It seems like a good idea to split it up almost, because you keep hearing like, oh, they're adding the Aquaman's going to be in it now.
Yeah.
Cyborg's going to show up at some point.
Yeah. Also, other great news that I heard just because of just... Okay, this is what I'm going to admit. I just do want it to suck because they've just been so arrogant and so like dismissive of comic book fans the whole time for it. Heard Fantastic Four is a fucking mess and they're reshooting 30 minutes of it right now. It's supposed to be out in a couple of months. Damn. They're reshooting.
There's not a couple of months.
It's this
they
summer.
Haven't the first bit of fucking promotion. Not a fucking poster. Not a goddamn sheet.
It's supposed to be out this year and... It was supposed to be about this summer, and they said they did their first test screening for like the executives, and they were just like, "Nope." They were like, "This whole thing sucks."
Yeah. So I want Marvel to get Fantastic Four back.
I want them to get back everything with X-Men.
Not like
they've got their own great universe, so I don't want them to get it back because there's just so much they're doing right, and I really like these movies.
Yeah, they put good people on those X-Men movies.
Yeah,
you know, like it's legit. Leave it there.
They're fine. The X-Men works better as its own.
Other than the impact it has had on the comics.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that.
They're not allowed to make new X-Men characters, and they're trying to push them to the back.
But, like, as far as the movies on their own merits have been fantastic for the most part.
Do you think that they would go as far? This is a crazy conspiracy number 2. Because they don't own some of these people... Do you think they would go as far as well, no, because I guess they couldn't have a different person's Wolverine. I guess the name Wolverine they couldn't use anyways.
Yeah. I think he's bought and paid for.
Yeah. And I wonder, they could probably sue him if they created somebody just like Wolverine, but for one of the other books, somebody that basically has the same powers and everything. They probably couldn't do that.
Well, I heard conspiracies abound. We're putting on our tinfoil hats for this edition of Getchyapulls. Conspiracies abound. You know, in the wake of the death of Wolverine in the comic continuity, as it stands in the 616, the Sabretooth has taken over, and now I believe I have heard there is marginal gray area in the ownership of Sabretooth because of how he appeared. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah.
To me, I always thought he was an X-Men character, and I'm guessing that, he is. But if let's just humor the conspiracy for a moment. If that's the case, what if they made Sabretooth the new Wolverine in the comics because they might have a shot at owning him to make him Wolverine in the movies?
In the Avengers?
I could see him pulling something like that, but I don't know if the
Also, I heard
fans will stand
Sabretooth's
for it.
not going to be Wolverine very long, because they're going to make X-23 Wolverine for the remainder of Wolverine's absence.
We're going to make X-23 Wolverine because she's only been a clone of Wolverine her whole life.
Yeah. And also goes to my new theory that if you're a white dude and you're a superhero, Marvel ain't got time for you.
No.
If you're a straight white man, Marvel doesn't want you on their playing field.
They gotta get those pretend progressive dollars.
Yeah, exactly. They gotta get their they gotta get their fucking, they gotta get that. It's like, they're like Coca-Cola.
Don't think I'm Rush Limbaugh here. I mean, Image is doing it like for real.
Yeah, exactly.
Marvel just claims they're doing it. Really, they just want your money. That's really the point.
It's gonna get those dollars.
Exactly. Image does it by just releasing books that people buy. Marvel goes on The View to let you know.
It's like, now Thor's
Image is like, we have comics that has like a gay robot and people from different races together, and people love it. And they're like, well, Barbara Walters just announced that we have a female Thor who's progressive now. We're so progressive that we can't create new diverse characters. We just get rid of the old ones that are already popular and make them different. How progressive are we?
What diverse characters?
How diverse are we that we're doing something we've been doing in comics for 100 years and just putting somebody new as the same old tired character? Oh, we've got somebody. Oh, there's a bunch of new Spider-Mans. Finally, there's women as Spider-Man. Oh, great.
There's 2 or 3 of them, actually.
Oh, we couldn't just make Gwen Stacy a new cool superhero. We just call her Spider-Man because we're so progressive.
There's 3 female Spider-Men getting their own books.
They're like the same thing as like Coke being like, we took the sugar out of Coke, so we're healthy now. Walmart. Oh, we offer health insurance, which people have done for 1,000 years, but we finally offered health insurance this year. We care about our workers.
Aren't we just the greatest?
That's Marvel. Marvel's the Walmart and Coke, and they're like, oh, we've got somebody else in this uniform who's not a white man. We're progressive.
At least
we're so creative that we came up with a brand new character and called them Thor. We're so creative. We've got a new character. We called her Spider-Man. We're so creative.
At least the original Spider-Man is still there. It's not.
That's true.
There's somebody filling in his shoes. He's still there.
Yes.
There's just also these 3 other dames that are Spider-Man too.
Yeah, like with Thor and Captain America, they were completely replaced. Now, I'm still hanging on that remainder. Like, I want to find out what happens to the Falcon, his cap, and I'll catch that in a trade or something later. But they're not going to get me on their $4 books. We've had this discussion time and time again.
Yeah.
I like Falcon's new costume, and it still seems silly though. It's just like he's not even really Captain America. He's still Falcon. He just has the shield now. Does he have the shield?
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I quit reading, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems silly. Like, let Falcon be his own character. He didn't have to.
He's got like his own history and everything.
Yeah, he's just the Falcon.
And he's a badass.
He doesn't need to be called Captain America.
They just need to let their truly diverse characters.
He's not just some random dude that walks around and then isn't a superhero. No, he gets to be superhero. He's already a superhero, and his name's the Falcon.
Yeah.
And he's a bad motherfucker.
You could just elevate the Falcon, and that's how you can be truly progressive, is be like, I'm not taking on the moniker of Captain America because I don't need to. I'm the Falcon. I'm just going to do his job. Right. And then fucking you have an equally awesome character named the Falcon.
Yeah, you want to have a tribute. Maybe he throws a little red, white, and blue into his costume, alter it a little bit.
Because you know what's going to happen at some point? Steve Rogers is going to be Captain America, and then he's going to be back to go on the Falcon, and nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
It's just like Bucky. I mean, I love Bucky Cap. Love that storyline.
Yeah,
but cool. Where is Bucky now? He's back to being the Winter Soldier.
He's in a bunch of books that get canceled because they can't sell. They got a bump because of movies, but then they can't sell. Even though they're great, they can't sell enough to stay on the shelf.
He needs to be in the Captain America universe, man. He's a wonderful character, but he belongs there.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, I think we've bitched long enough. I guess we could talk about some of our comics now. I guess I can start out talking about my picks of the week.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a couple here. Witches continues to be badass. Snyder's writing it. Just the artwork alone by Jock is super crazy, and the issues, even though there's only been 3, like they've been different. Like the first one was just like straight up creepy, and then now the last couple they've turned more into like that Italian horror type, where the imagery is just so creepy. Like it puts you in this weird mood while you're reading it the whole time, where it just seems ominous and eerie no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to capture in movies, even harder to capture in print, and they're doing it.
Like, the whole thing with the fucking nipple on her neck grossed me the fuck out.
Yeah.
So bad. Like, it was so creepy. It's like,
factor.
It was a true bummer.
It's like she has this, like, the main character who's been fucking with the witches in the woods, she's got this fucking growth on her neck. They can't figure out what the fuck it is. And, like, like they find out that it's like a port, like a fucking nipple for the fucking witches to suck on, and it's like they planted it there, and it's fucking hideous.
That's my witch nipple. Don't worry about that.
It is. And then my next book that was awesome is Batman number 37, In-Game Part 3.
Oh,
have you been keeping up with this?
Cover.
You've been keeping up with this? You ever read this one?
Yes.
Nice. And of course, now y'all have read, I know we've talked about it on the last pod, but now you've read the fucking awesome last issue where the Joker had made Batman fight fucking Superman. God, that was a good issue.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, this issue was also super great. Snyder does like the best job ever of like thinking about like the psychological aspect of Batman, especially Batman versus the Joker.
Yeah.
And this is a badass one too. It's you got Batman is he starts out trapped in Arkham Asylum, and then you've also got Gordon being hounded by the Joker.
Oh, the Gordon scene was excellent.
If there's someone that the Joker likes to fuck with almost as much as Batman, it's Commissioner Gordon. And the scene with Gordon is great, and the rest of the stuff with Batman is great too. Where Batman is in Arkham and he's freaking out, and he gets to relive. Doesn't matter. It seems like also they've been really good. They've done the like reliving the death of his parents scene a few times, but they do like new, unique ways that are always really awesome.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to take up a huge amount of time, but they do it in these simple sequences that are just, you understand everything that's going on. And it
still shows that is still what affects him so much, that keeps driving him.
And then we're in the big spoiler here if you haven't read it, but then we're in the Court of Owls storyline. They really teased you that the Joker knew Batman was Bruce Wayne, and that was like a thing, and you thought, how could he not? And then he basically explained that like he intentionally doesn't want to know who he is because it'll ruin the fun. Well, the last panel of this one is he calls Batman and says, "Hello, Bruce." So you got to think this time they're going to come out and let you know that the Joker does know him. But I've also heard that Snyder said he doesn't plan on using the Joker again as long as he writes Batman because he just doesn't want to overdo him and feels like he's done what he can do. So maybe how does the Joker not end up telling everybody who he is? Like maybe, they're actually going to give you like some sort of like a good way to like get rid of the Joker for a while.
And I like how they're handling the Joker this time. There's always something new to add to the pile, and it's like he's finding new ways to make the Joker creepy. Yeah. And it's like, we've been in the era of the Bat God for a long time, and it seems like they're kind of elevating the Joker a little bit. Maybe not truly, but he's like the Joker God almost. Like,
keep him,
he has this history that's possible. Maybe he's timeless and immortal or something, but I don't know. Something's going on.
A wrestling analogy, which I do often, it's the Sheik or Abdullah the Butcher or Bruiser Brody. It's the monster coming to the territory once or twice a year because they can't go out there and wrestle a 60-minute match. They're just going to go out there and wreak havoc and scare people. That doesn't work every week, but it works in small doses. So instead of keeping the Joker around as just a fucking background character or a fixture, which is what they did in the pre-New 52 era, Snyder has the different approach of where he just brings him in every now and again for that, and when the Joker comes, shit's about to get fucked up because he always keeps his edge that way,
Yeah, but it's great, and that's part 3 of that storyline. I think this was not going to be as giant as normal. I think maybe it's like a 5-parter. Yeah, because it's going to end before Convergence. So what? That's February. There'll be a February Bat book and a March one, and then I think that's when Convergence happens. Right. So there's only a couple more parts left of the story, so that's awesome. And then my last book, my one true pick of the week for this time, is going to be Lazarus number 14.
Lazarus!
And it's really the build-up for number 15 that gets me so pumped up, because a couple things happen here to storyline Conclave has been going, where all the big rich families and Lazarus are together and doing some negotiating, and it's been badass. Well, last issue ended with Forever is supposed to kill, was ordered by her father to kill her brother Jonah. Well, she doesn't just go in and kill him. She talks to him when she gets there. Does she kill him? Does he not? Does she not? I won't spoil it. But she gets some crazy information about herself, and then shows back up to the conclave, and her father brings charges against the guy that he's fighting with. And how are they going to settle it? Two Lazarus are going to have to fight to the death next issue. That's going to be fucking badass.
Bum, bum, bum. That book is so fucking good.
It's so awesome, man. Like, if it doesn't, I mean, I love it for what it is, for being a comic, and if it's nothing ever but a great comic, then that's good enough for me. But man, they're really missing out if that doesn't end up being like a big set of big budget movies, because it's got everything that's working right now. It would have a great, awesome female lead, a crazy dystopian future story. But I don't like a bunch of these ones that are just like cheesy and like it's the same cliched. All of these like things like copy each other over and over. This one's actually unique and actually like feels like it's like a possible future that we could actually be living in, and it's so good.
You got to think if that Mad Max movie is successful, that maybe that might actually happen.
Yeah, you can see it happening because it's got. I mean, the things that make these movies good. It's got like a love story going on. It's got all the different families. It's stylish, but it seems like more real. Like, is it that out there to think that like if things went to shit and the economy busted, that it wouldn't be like the 1% people would just all kind of, take over as the government and decide who gets to do what and divvy out the food and stuff like that and have their own armies? It seems very possible.
Oh, it's very relevant. It's extremely socially relevant right now. This is why I think they need to strike while the iron is hot, because it's definitely relevant to what's going on in the world. It's just, it's kind of that ominous warning of, you keep heading down that path and this is the world you may end up in.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on.
Yeah, I'll touch on a few things here before I get to my book of the week. Quotation marks. Spider-Verse has been exceptionally good. The last of the actual title Spider-Verse comics came out this week, and it's just little tiny stories, like a few pages long, and it's been really, really good as a tie-in, and it's like just as a way to introduce or give a specific Spider-Man his own moment of sunshine there. And it's just been really refreshing. There's funny stories. There's a little more serious stories. And then the main Spider-Verse, Amazing Spider-Man line has been also really fucking good. But they introduced all the Japanese Spider-Mans. They've recruited all of them from their various sources, like the manga Spider-Man, Manga-verse Spider-Man, and the 70s TV show Spider-Man, who like kind of was a Power Ranger. He had a huge mech that he fought with Leopardon, and he called that thing in, and it had a little bit of a rumble with the Inheritors.
It's crazy how many of those similar stories are going on, because I saw something in either a preview for a Multiversity book or for the Convergence, where I think it was like 1940s like TV show Superman showed up to fight somebody. Yeah. So it's nuts how that's like the thing right now. Somehow that's the in thing in comics. Let's have an event where Michael Keaton might fight against the fucking Scott Snyder Batman.
It's cool. Possibly coming. We could see Keaton versus fucking Christian Bale in the Convergence.
And I'm Batman off.
I'm Batman. Oh,
the Burton verse versus the Schumacher verse Batman.
Yes,
would be nice.
That would be nice. Yes, it would be awesome. It would be like, Burton versus Batman would be like, why are you so bright? And Schumacher would be like, why are you so emo? Why did you set a motherfucker on fire? Batman doesn't kill.
Well, you wear turtlenecks all the time.
Yes. Yeah, and he'd be like, why did you try to kill the career of Tommy Lee Jones? So that would be the conversation.
I think that was Tommy Lee Jones' fault. He was hamming it up. I think he was trying to be Jack Nicholson.
He was doing his worst Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
impersonation.
What is this character about? He's just ridiculous and silly, kind of like the Joker, probably, right? Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay, I'm in. 50 million sounds great.
Yeah.
Next book, first part pick of the week, Jupiter's Legacy, a book that is 8 months in the making, apparently, due to Frank Quitely's very liberal schedule for
he decided he just didn't want to draw. I was going to say, this book came out a while ago.
Yeah, it was in probably summer or maybe spring even when the last number 4 came out. This is a double-sized finale of sorts, but I wasn't really sure. I knew there were other books with this title in the work later down the road.
Probably drawn by other motherfuckers that
Yeah,
draw.
I think that's the plan, because it says at the end of book 1, and I was like, damn it. So how long is it going to be till the second part starts? But I think the plan is to go with a different artist and do a prequel series, even though this just now is the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first act.
They'll give Frank Quietly 4 years to get ahead.
Yeah, I think they'll do the miniseries prequel of sorts and give him some time, because he clearly needs it.
It is weird how some of these certain great artists, like that X-Men book looks awesome, but it's like John Cassidy's drawing the first issue, and you're like, what? He's going to make it like 4 in?
Yeah,
like, how long do you make it on Uncanny Avengers for they to fill in all
It was
this?
about
3 or 4.
Yeah.
But
That's his mode of operation.
Quietly's so good, so it's like when it does come out, you can totally see the value of having him stay on the book. It's just, he's one of my favorite artists by far. So I'm glad it finally wrapped up, even though it was 8 months late. And new book by Grant Morrison. This starts my Morrison time here. The all-new Miracle Man annual goes back to a story he wrote.
Oh, please tell me about the fucked up crazy art of this.
It was great. It was amazing. It's Quesada. He was like, okay, you can print it as long as Quesada does the artwork for it, and he doesn't hold back. You basically get an earlier version of the John Bates Kid Miracle Man character. He looks like John Lennon, pretty much, and that's kind of how he was written in the... You have the script in the back, so you kind of realize that's exactly what he wanted. And it does the trick, man. It's just a really short little story of him, like, just being the Antichrist, basically.
I like how they make Morrison have a Marvel book. Like,
yeah,
we've got some stuff you wrote a long time ago. You're going to do a book with us.
Let us do it. You actually let us print your name as the writer, so yeah, go for it.
Yeah, he wants that cash.
And there's a second story that was equally good by Pete Milligan and Michael Allred. And it goes back to the Mick Anglo original Miracle Man, where he's like this happy-go-lucky kind of character. And it's just all this crazy stuff happens. And it's just a fun little romp. And he almost questions, like, what exactly is happening. Why is everything so lighthearted? Because it's a big part of Miracle Man's origin is, like, all the stuff in the 50s was like memory implants. And it didn't really happen. So it is kind of nice throwback to that. It was definitely worth. I don't usually get annuals, but this was an exceptionally good one.
I want to know when Multiversity. Is that what you're about to talk about?
Yeah,
I really want to know when that's. I really want to know when that's going to come out in hardcover, because I'm going to have to buy it and read it all.
They've all been so good, every last one of them. And this is the best one so far. This is my book of the year for 2014. Came out pretty much toward the end, but it is one of the one of the alternate Earths is the Charlton characters, or Charlton Comics characters that were adapted to make Watchmen. And he
I've heard about
revisits that world without stomping over any ground that Alan Moore does, not even commenting on what that is and what it means to comic book fans. But it's a really perfectly constructed one-shot of a story. I think it's less involved with the actual multiversity story proper and more of its own little contained thing. And it's just panel after panel. It's just, you can tell it's intricately structured. And who drew this one? This is Frank Quitely.
Frank Quitely.
So this is probably why Jupiter's Legacy was so late. And you can tell because he really puts his heart and soul. This is probably the best looking Frank Quitely book ever. He's just getting better and better. And this comic demands to be read over and over because you're going to pick up stuff you didn't. It's kind of segmented, like you get portions of the story from the past and what's happening now. And I can't say enough great things about it. But
I saw it was on a bunch of issue of the year lists.
Yeah.
You know, it happened real late.
it is that good. And like immediately after I finished the last page, I went back and read it like 2 or 3 more times. If that tells you anything about how great of a story it is, man. Yeah, definitely pick this up if you can find it. Pax Americana. Even if you're not reading the Multiversity storyline proper, it is totally worth your effort.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get that hardcover. When
yeah.
these came out, I want to read them all.
I imagine this will be the highlight of the series. But every issue of it has been phenomenal. So.
Do you think that, like, Frank Quietly, like, when Grant Morrison called him, was like, hey, I need you to draw that Multiversity, and he was like, ha ha ha, funny joke, Grant. You've been talking about that since 1990.
Yeah.
He's like, no, really, we're going to do it. He's
I'm
like,
serious
really?
this time.
We're really going to do it this time.
Yeah. And he had to call Mark Millar and was like, hey, man, you know how, like, you're kind of famous for your books having crazy delays? Bad news.
So there's one sequence in the middle of the book that it's probably the panel work is amazing. It's like it's just hardcore, like panel, like. I mean, it's it's hard to describe, but there's one sequence in the middle that it's all evenly spaced panels, and it goes through multiple time periods, but it's the question like investigating this murder scene, and there it is. It's so perfect, man. It's hard to describe without reading, so I guess I can't say enough. Go read it. Check it out, man.
Right on.
That's awesome. I'm pumped to read that. It's one of the newer books that I didn't anticipate. That surprisingly, that like I'm really excited about now.
It's a sleeper hit because it's not necessarily impacting anything in the DC universe proper now, but who knows? It might.
Right on. Is that all you had to talk about?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Right on. I had several books over the last month, but really what has stood out, I'll give you the quick and short and dirty of it. Flash, still standing out. Robert Venditti on the writing has continued to carry the torch, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. We now have this crazy future Flash who's kind of become a dick.
Yeah.
And he's back in the present, and he's acting as the modern day Flash, and then you have the real Barry Allen stuck in the Speed Force, so quite a conundrum.
Fucking Speed Force.
It's been top notch. Aquaman has as well. I think Jeff Parker has really found a home here that Aquaman is a character you can tell he really enjoys writing, and he's
Jeff
kind
Parker's
of
great.
made it different, than what Jeff Johns did, but it's still been great, and it's carried on the same kind of vibe, but it's slightly been different in tone. That's been good. Sons of Anarchy has been tremendous. Gotta wonder what the fate of the comic is with the show ending. I've heard they're going to continue for a few more, so hopefully they stick around. I would love to see some, after the finale, I'd like to see some Chibs of Anarchy comics, why not? I saw they are continuing with Chibs of Anarchy in a mobile game. There's going to be a storyline following the series in a mobile game. Hopefully we still get that in the comics. The last issue was about Juice, which was just a crazy one-off about one of his adventures, but it was great.
Yes.
But rounding out my greatness, of course, Batman Eternal. 6 issues of Batman Eternal I've read since the last time we potted.
Yeah, I think keep cranking that up. I guess that's the idea.
Thank God they announced season 2 of it.
They've got a lot of moving parts that have been going kind of separately for a long time in the book, and now they're all kind of coming together. And so you have like this cabal of villains who's decided to work together. But you have people like Killer Croc who are kind of on the outside of that, but involved in the whole thing. We find out what's going on with Gordon and being in prison. It's all just kind of coming together. Like every little side story that they've been running is kind of meeting up, and so you can tell that they're getting to the home base here. It's coming up real soon, but can't recommend that one enough. If you're a Batman fan, you need to be reading Batman proper, Detective, and Batman Eternal because they are cranking out some good shit over in the DCU. Walking Dead has continued to be tremendous. They continue to challenge the status quo of the book.
It's been awesome. Yeah, Carl has been whipping some ass, so that's great.
Carl fucked those motherfuckers up with a goddamn shovel.
Yeah.
They tried to rape Sophia, so, they kind of got what was coming.
Carl gave his hat to another girl. That's what we'll call some drama.
Yeah. And we've also got, like, the whole drama building with the other parents in the community who, don't see that he saved her from a rape, that he's just an animal. Because, he's Carl.
Right.
And so he went a little far.
That's what he does.
With the beating that he gave him.
He shoots first. There's no warning shots from Carl.
So, Walking Dead, yeah, it just continues to knock my socks off. But my absolute pick of the event, pick of the show tonight, Southern Bastards #6, Jason Latour, Jason Aaron. What a book. This, we continue to delve deeper into the origin of Coach Boss, who is the villain of the series, and they've really done, it's been True Detective-esque in the way they've laid out the reveals and things of the book, because the overall story has moved very slow, but you don't notice it because you're so stuck on the details that you're just along for the ride.
Yeah. And it gave you it's such a good slow build because it gave you like such a great switcheroo right off the bat where you're like, oh, I've seen this seems cool, I've seen this story, like this is the big badass swinging a stick coming into town, going to clean the town up. Oh no, he's not in the book anymore. It wasn't about him, it's about this dude. And now it's like, who's actually going to be this? I mean, we're going to get this whole great backstory on the coach, and then who's going to come into town that's actually going to be the big hero for the book.
Well, we know his daughter is on the way.
We know his daughter's on the way, so maybe she's going to get there and be awesome.
We know she's military. Like, that's been established, too. So it's like, I don't think that was put in there for no reason. So I think that we could be seeing a big confrontation between the daughter of Earl Tubb and Coach Boss. But in Craw County, Alabama, shit is real. Let me tell you. These motherfuckers will kill a motherfucker over football. And they have done it multiple times thus far, and we're only 6 issues in. So.
My kind of people.
Yeah. I would say if you live in the South, check out Southern Bastards, but it doesn't have to. It's a story about the South. Like they say, both the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. Both the guys that write the book, Jason Aaron's from Alabama, Jason Latour is from North Carolina. They both moved away from the South. Latour still lives there, but they both in their lives moved away from the South. There's a part of it they love, and there's a part of it they're kind of embarrassed of, and they don't like. Just kind of the ugly history that we have down here. And that all comes out in this book. It's just so fucking beautifully done.
I'm going to have to finally stop, passing on that one.
Yeah, you have to, man.
I feel guilty every time we talk about
you get that. Well, yeah, there's on issue 6. You get that first $5.99 image. Well, $9.99, but $5.99 if you know how to shop the interwebs.
I'm gonna have to find
image first trade paperback. Which also, Jason Aaron's awesome, which is also something else that gets me really pumped up. Next month, finally happening, because you know that I'm, for the most part, like a real snob about my collecting of comics, and gotta wait for the hardcovers. Next month, it's finally happening. Deluxe hardcovers. Take a guess of what?
Scalped?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. I was going to be like, Thor?
It's finally happening. Some deluxe scalped hardcovers start coming out.
Man, I've been waiting to read that for so fucking long. That was his first book. I wouldn't say a prequel to Southern Bastards, but it was creator owned and all 100% grounded in reality.
Oh, nice.
And it's kind of like he's described it as the Sopranos on an Indian reservation.
Yeah, wow.
So it's about like the politics of the Native American community and like the crime involved and everything. And it's critically acclaimed and award winning. And so I'm really, really excited about reading that. You're the fucking man, Moochie.
I know. I am your provider of lots of graphic novels.
You are.
Yes. Yeah, I like them. I like to buy them and read them and pass them on to my friends and sell them for profits if I don't want to read them again. That's what I do. Sold one to a guy from a wrestling show today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Who was this, pray tell?
Great news. And maybe listen to this. Fan of the podcast, Vega. Lives,
Ryan Bagel.
Yes. Lives about a minute and a half from us. Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
He's in town. So, yeah. He's got to be our most local podcast listener.
Oh, wow.
Guaranteed. Passed him some absolute New Frontier today. Passed it on. Gave him a low price, a good deal. They're making a deluxe hardcover of it in like April, and I'm going to buy that.
The Darwin Cook.
Yeah, the Darwin Cook.
Oh, that's one of my
The absolutes are great. They look great. The art looks great. And every time I read one, I'm like, this just took a year off my wrist.
Those things are massive.
They are.
Way less.
All right, cool. So I guess for next time, whenever we pod again, I was going to say, what do you have next week? But what books do you have next month? Who knows when we're going to pod again?
Probably most of these we've covered. We'll
yeah, the same ones I've talked about pretty much.
That's true. But whether it's a week's worth or a month's worth, I guess we'll get our pulls.